next animation project, I would like to apply some techniques that will give the appearance of believable motion. I will use these three objects which I have already converted into graphic symbols: a space rocket, a refrigerator, and a car. Some of these may look familiar from earlier in the course. The refrigerator I drew using a series of rectangles. The fourth object I have for motion animation is the star field. I have created this star field so that it will move slowly from right to left in the background to give the feeling of moving through space. But I've made the star field seamless, which means the viewer can't tell where the image starts and ends when it's looping. Let me demonstrate using the trees from the Creating a Scene video. The aspect ratio of my animation, which is the size of my stage, is 1920 pixels wide by 1080 pixels high. This is the standard dimension for widescreen videos. I need to create an image that is twice the size of the width, so that's 1920 pixels times 2 equals 3840 pixels wide by 1080 pixels high. But I still need to consider that this image is comprised of two halves. In my drawing program, I will place the trees on the left half of the image, then I'll duplicate the same trees and place them on the right half. I need to convert the entire image into a JPEG, flatten if necessary, and then import into Animate. Now I will convert the trees image into a symbol, however not a graphic symbol. This time I will convert it into a movie clip symbol. I will name it trees_move. Now you should be able to see the symbol in the library. I'm lining up the left side of the image to the left of the stage. The right half of the image will hang off the right side of the stage. At frame 90, I'll add another keyframe. Then I'll slide the image over to the left so that the right side of the image is lined up with the right side of the stage. I'll go to the middle of the time span and select Create Classic Tween and test the animation. On either side, you can see these white bars flicker in and out. Just a simple adjustment of moving the image on the first frame to the left will fix that. Going back to my rocket animation, I'll need to create some simple animated titles that will describe what the animation is about. I'll call it Traversing Through Space Debris. I'm going to hide my current objects, lock the star field layer, then create two layers for the title. First for Traversing Through and second for Space Debris. I'll select the first title and the text tool. On the stage, I'll type in the first half of my title, Traversing Through, and pick a font that is futuristic or sci-fi. I'll select Aviano Future, a typeface I found in Adobe Fonts. I'll center the two titles together and then center a line to the stage. Now I will break apart the two titles and convert them to graphic symbols. Now I can animate them. For the Traversing Through title, I can go to the right of the Properties panel and select the Transformation tool and manually input the percentage I want the title to be reduced. I'll choose 10% reduction. Then I'll click in the middle of the time span and select Create Classic Tween. So the Traversing Through title zooms up from out of nowhere. Going back to the first frame of the Space Debris title, I can move that off the stage to the left and have it quickly slide out to the center to meet its counterpart of the title. However, I would like the Space Debris to come out halfway after Traversing Through is coming forward. So I'll move that time span to the right halfway. Now the title has to hold on so viewers can see what it says. I will add frames. I would also like the titles to fade out at the end so I can start my animation. I will add a few more frames and select the last frame, go to Color Effects panel and select Alpha. Alpha refers to the transparency of the title. Selecting 0 will make the title disappear. So both titles fade out successfully. I'd like the fade out to last a little bit longer, so I'll spread out the frames. Conversely, I can go to the first frame of each title and do the same, 0 transparency, as they're zooming and sliding into place. I'll make sure the star field's final frame is the same position as the rest of the objects. Now I'll test. Whoops, you can see the hidden objects flicker in and out. That's because while they're hidden in the FLA file, they don't stay hidden while testing the movie. I've taken my pencil tool and drew a path across the stage that I want my rocket to travel. I'm designating the path layer to be a guide by right-clicking or control-clicking on the layer and selecting Guide. See how the icon for the path layer has changed to a T-square? Now I will move the rocket layer under the guide layer and wait until I see it indented and let go. Now the T-square has turned into a slinky. That indicates that the guide layer is ready to load the object on the path. On the first frame of the rocket layer, I'm going to attach my rocket to the path. First, I need to select the transformation tool. You can see the circle in the middle of the bounding box. That is the transformation point. I'll drag the rocket onto the path. Now it should snap to it. I'll rotate the rocket to face the direction of the path. Then at the end of the path, I'll go to the last frame and attach the rocket to the end of the path and rotate to match. When I test it, the nose of the rocket appears misplaced. In the Properties panel and under the Frame tab, I'll look under Tweening and select Orient to Path. Now when I test it, the rocket should follow the path correctly. I won't go into detail on animating the refrigerator and car going the opposite direction using classic tweens and rotation. The last part of the project is creating the propulsion at the bottom of the rocket that makes the rocket travel through space. I'm going to double-click on the rocket, taking me to the first layer of the drawing object, where I have a different timeline related to the rocket. I'll rename the layer _1 to Rocket and leave the layer alone by locking it. I'll create two new layers, Flame 01 and Flame 02. For Flame 01, I'll draw a light blue flame and make it 16 frames long. I'll make it a classic tween and adjust the size and color. For Flame 02, I'll do the same thing but a white flame inside the blue one. I'll test the nested animations of the flame before testing the whole animation. Everything looks great. Now for the final test. Please enjoy this action-packed thriller sci-fi animation.